Everything is an expansion of the energy of the Supreme, absolute truth, Brahman. When Brahman is mixed with the three qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance, there results the material expansion, which is sometimes called Saguna Brahman, and which consists of these 25 elements. In the Nirguna Brahman, where there is no material contamination, or in the spiritual world, the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, are not present. Where Nirguna Brahman is found, simply unalloyed goodness prevails. Saguna Brahman is described by the Sankhya system of philosophy as consisting of 25 elements, including the time factor, past, present, and future. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Kinanchana Shalakaya Chakshu Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stabidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swabhadantikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Chagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpadarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All these are considered the qualified Brahman. The mixing element, which is known as time, is counted as the 25th element. Übersetzt du? Versuchst. Okay. Since I prepared for the previous verse, I will try to connect them somehow. But as we can see here now that there's nothing else, there's no existence beyond Brahman. So the reality is actually that everything is Brahman, everything is spiritual. Only our misidentification with the ahankara, with the false ego makes it seems like we are separated from the spiritual realm. But that's actually not true. We are always completely spiritual. Sometimes we say the faults, the shortcomings of the soul, like we have this imperfect senses, we are an illusion, we tend to cheat, and one more is missing. Imperfect senses, cheating, illusion, mistakes, yeah. But we say it's the faults of the soul, but actually the soul has no fault. The soul is pure, Satchidananda Vigraha, eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss, and an eternal form of knowledge and bliss. But due to our coverings in this material world, from goodness, passion, and ignorance, so passion covers us that we strive for achievement, we want to always do something better. Or Lord Brahma, he creates the whole universe, so much passion that he creates the whole universe. Or the mode of ignorance, we are really degraded in lower consciousness, eating meat, taking drugs, being awake the whole night, sleeping the whole day. I mean, many of us maybe had this experience. Usually I woke up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and went to bed at 4 o'clock or something like that. Now it's the other way around. I wake up at 4 and go to bed very early. And also goodness is also covered. It's also not pure. Goodness is also covered by knowledge and happiness. So to come out of these coverings of the material modes is not so easy. Our false ego is so strong, Satyananda Maharaj said once, that when we fart, we think it smells good. That our own farts smell good. You know? It's okay. But if somebody else farts, it's so strong is our false ego. So our misidentification with this material world is very, very deeply rooted. When Mahavishnu impregnates this world with the spirit souls, it's that he's kind of the seed-giving father. And the material nature, I mean, you have the same principle when the father puts the semen into the womb of the mother, and then the child is born. So the material body actually doesn't come from the father, it comes from the mother, from the material nature. And the father is the seed, he gives the seed. And that's why the living entity is more attached to the mother than to the father, because the material body it got from the mother. And Prabhupada says in the same way, the spirit soul, we are more attached to the material nature than to Krishna, because we got this material body with whom we identify so much, that's why we're so attached to the material world. And the body and the mind is like a hardware and a software. Like you have a computer, you have the hardware, and you have the program, the software. In the same way, our mind and our body is the hardware and the software. But it has nothing to do with us. And because the soul engages with this material world, Haribo. Wow. A bit softer maybe. So then the soul identifies so strong, at one point it thinks it is the mind. But we're also not this mind. We just engage the mind with this material world, but it has nothing to do with us. All these false designations we put on us, all these hats. I'm a brahmachari, I'm a grihasta, I'm a sannyasi, I'm a book distributor, I'm a cook, I'm a kirtaniya, I'm a harinam devotee. Whatever it is, it's not who we are. And this material world is so built, it's like in a prison. It is a prison, actually. Here we hear about the Brahman, about there's no existence beyond the Brahman. But in this material world, when we have all these avatars, we have Krishna, who expands himself into Balaram. Balaram expands himself into Sankarshan, then into the first Chatuvyuha. Then Narayan expands, can't remember, I think from Vasudev. Then from Narayan we have the second Chatuvyuha. Chatuvyuha is these four avatars, Sankarshan, Vasudev, Anirudh, Pradyumna. Then we have the second Chatuvyuha, and from the second Chatuvyuha we have another Sankarshan, and from this Sankarshan then Mahavishnu expands. Mahavishnu lies on the causal ocean, and from Mahavishnu we have Gavatakashai Vishnu expands. And Gavatakashai Vishnu, he's already, from Mahavishnu, from his pores emanates all the material universes, and there's unlimited, we can't count them, so many universes. And in all these universes Mahavishnu enters as Gavatakashai Vishnu, from whom navel the Brahma, lotus stem came, lotus flower, Lord Brahma came. Then he expands himself into Kshirotakashai Vishnu, in the super soul, in each planet, in each atom, everywhere present. He knows everything right now from each of you. Each thought, each moment, every decision. And He never leaves us. Amazing, huh? If you would know what I think about you, all of you, sometimes, you would probably don't talk to me anymore. But Krishna, He knows. He knows how we feel about Him, about others. But He's not judging us. He is still there. So Krishna is everywhere. And He knows everything. Maybe I can know maybe your thoughts, maybe I can read your mind. We have some mystical powers. But I can't read the minds of all of you at the same time. It's not possible. And this is only for Krishna. And then we are in this universe, captured. It says it's the youngest universe, where Lord Brahma only has 4 heads. In other universes he has many heads. He has in one point, they say 1 million heads. I was wondering, because you read this Krishna Lila and Mahabharata, and I'm wondering if it's in different universes, different Leelas. Because if Brahma looks different, probably the human beings also look different. Who knows? So there's unlimited Leelas. We can't ourselves understand. We have here a little bit written the Srimad Bhagavatam, but this is only a small portion. It says that Bhagavatam of the demigods is much, much bigger. Also the Mahabharata, we have 100,000 verses, and for the demigods you have 600,000 verses. And that's actually written somewhere 30 times 600,000. That's even a lot. Much bigger, the Leelas of the Lord. And we're sitting in the shell. It's described as an egg. And if you know an egg, egg also has shells, as a shell. So in the same way, we are now in this material universe, and this material universe is also made of shells, of layers. And it said it's 6 layers. It doesn't start with earth. It starts with the elements, but it starts with water. And it says the layer of water is 10 times bigger than the universe itself. Imagine you have here the universe, and then 10 times bigger is the covering of water. Then we have 10 times bigger fire, air, sky. Then it's the false ego. This is the last remaining we have in this material world is our false ego. And then the pradhan, the whole material energy, but it's not yet in motion, how you say, it's not really I don't know how to describe it. It's not yet fully manifest, but it's still there. The pradhan, the material nature, material elements, they're actually eternal, but they're not engaged yet with the material world. So to come out of this material world on our own endeavor is very, very difficult. In the Bhagavad Gita we have many ways how to leave this body with practice of yoga, but for us very difficult to perform. So our way out of this material prison is with Srila Prabhupada. He is the key to the back door of this material world. Our own endeavor will be difficult. We can try as much as possible. I mean, even in the Yoga Sutras it is said we should actually perform yoga, that we can overcome the faults of the body, the shortcomings of the body and the shortcomings of the mind, to actually still all the activities of the mind. Because only then you can realize that you're a spiritual being. Only then you can connect to something higher. Only then you can leave this material world. And for us it's the same process. We also have to overcome the identification with the body and the mind. I'm just preparing a YouTube video, and one friend he recommended to me to make it very viral. You just copy someone who already made a YouTube video what is viral, what has millions of views, and then he recommended to me I should copy a few videos of Sadhguru. I mean, just the title, and I put my own message. So I listened to a few videos. was interesting. But one video he gives some meditation, Isha Kriya he calls it, and 12 minutes he gives this meditation. You should do it for 48 days, and you say, I'm not this body and I'm not even the mind, and you just repeat the same meditation. And I don't know what happens after these 48 days. I didn't try it myself, but I found it an interesting concept because I don't know how to put this. Maybe I can make a video in a Krishna conscious context. Shri Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagavan Ki Jai. Shpala Nrsimhadev. Sorry, my throat is very dry, very difficult to speak. But that's all about, that we understand we're not this body and we're not even the mind. But who are we? With the chitta, the consciousness, the spirit soul behind it. But as long as we identify with this material world, we live in a prison. Maybe some of us are good prisoners, have a little bit higher posts like the demigods. But even the demigods are in a prison. It's no difference. It's not. They can enjoy life more. Maybe they have better qualities, better abilities. Maybe they're more Krishna conscious, sometimes more, sometimes less. But it's still a prison. And even in prison, we also have the same. We have some people in the prison who can have some job, they have some work in the prison, they're a little bit more elevated, they have maybe their own room, their television. But they're in the same situation like the other prisoners. They're not better. I mean, I always told the story of a friend of mine who went to prison, but now I can be honest, this friend is not a friend, the friend was me. Now it's like many years and everyone knows, so I don't mind speaking about it. I went to prison once, not only once, but one time I went, and I already was devotee. And yeah, we all have our past, we all had our strong, even stronger layers of material nature and identification with our false ego. So I was young and I did stupid things, but then at one point I became devotee, and I was ready to join, but then I had a court case, and the case was maybe 2 or 3 years in the past. So, and then in the court they decided I had to go to jail for 3 months. Was a short, I say, 3 months is short, but yeah, I was already ready to join. I started to chant. I became vegetarian. I was trying strictly to follow. I read already the second canto Bhagavad Gita, and was practicing and wanted to become a brahmachari. And then he told me to go to jail. It's like. But anyways, I went there and I could take the books with me, and I had the 6th and 7th canto with me, Krishna book. So, and could get my japa mala, so I could chant. When I went inside, I said I will chant 64 rounds every day. Only one time I chanted 16. At the whole day, but I didn't chant it 16 rounds. Only one time. Anyways, then these 3 months passed. And after these 3 months, I started to do some old habits, and it was difficult. I was new in Krishna consciousness, and I had no foundation, and I was not so strong. And I remember the day, somehow by some mystical arrangement, by Krishna's mercy, I came out on Krishna Janmashtami. And one time the government, they were supposed to pay me some money, and they didn't pay me enough. They paid me instead of 5,000, only 4,000 something. And when I got these 3 months, then they told me, we owe you some money, so you can decide you come out 9 days earlier, or we give you back the money. And then I counted on the calendar, and it was exactly Krishna Janmashtami. So I took these 9 days. So I came out Krishna Janmashtami from the prison, like Krishna came also out of the prison. But the day before, actually I didn't want to come out, because I knew when I come out, I have to go to the temple, because I want to become a devotee. But actually I was not ready yet to join. I thought, like, in the prison I had a television, I had a nice job. Sometimes we had some nice other enjoyable things, some illegal things, some substances. You get the. So I was actually quite well situated. I had nothing to do. I had my job till 3. I had my own room. So I had my books. I could chant. I felt like actually, if I come out now, I have to give up everything and have to go to the temple, become a devotee. And I didn't know what will expect me. So I was quite afraid actually to leave the prison. After 3 months. Imagine you're 24 years or something. You kill someone and your whole life in prison. Lifetime sentence. And then you have to go out. Probably you don't know, like all of a sudden there's all Facebook, iPhones. Nobody talks anymore. Everybody's on the phone. And completely different society. So a little bit I was afraid to come to the temple. And I hold it on this last day. I remember it was so difficult I was completely Maya, completely covered. But then I came out and I came here and I joined, almost. Then had some excuses. I have to go back, I have to renew my passport and do a few things. And anyways, I went back and then Radhastami I came back and then finally Radhastami I stayed in the temple. But this experience was quite nice because now I can see I'm still in the prison. And actually not much changed. I'm still have the same mood, the same consciousness. Somehow I like Krishna consciousness. I understand there's a spiritual world. I understand I want to go back to the spiritual world. But at the same time I want to still be here. I want to enjoy the material world. And I mean it's nice, I have a nice life. I live in the temple, I have nice company here, nice association, nice food every day, I have a nice flat, I have a wonderful wife and child. So why should I leave? I mean, I'm not suffering much. Yeah, here and there you have some COVID or whatever. It's not that bad, we still survived. Yeah, and so my life is not that bad. It's the same illusion like before. Same prison. So at least before I could see the Gitterstäbe, the cage, how you call this in English? Iron bars. But there's no iron bars in prison. It's a door, a metal door with a small hole. You can look inside, and then you open, and you bring you your food. It's not like you see it in television. Maybe in some parts of the world. Yeah, it was actually a nice hotel. It was a nice holiday. But now it's the same. But now I don't see the iron bars. I'm still in the same illusion. I think I am something what I'm not. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a cook, I'm a Sankirtan devotee, preaching Krishna consciousness. But who am I really? If somebody asks me now, who are you? Then I'm very smart because I'm not saying I'm from Austria and I'm a car mechanic or whatever. I will say I'm a spirit soul. But there will be somebody else will ask you, so what? Who are you? Like your spirit soul and more? What is your name? Where you come from? What is your service? How do you look like? I don't know. I have no idea because I don't know who I am. Because I'm still entangled with this material world. I still identify myself with something I'm not. With the body and with the mind. As soon as we get sick, we react. As soon as somebody shouts at you, you react. As soon as something wonderful happens to you, yeah, Haribol, you react. And you always, as soon as something is happening to us, we engage with this material world. Somebody glorifies you, oh, it's me. Somebody chastens you, no, it's not me. Always accept, reject, accept, reject. We're always under the dictations of our mind and the urges of the senses. So we're not free. It's a long, long way. But if we engage in Krishna consciousness, in so many ways, unlimited ways, there's so many opportunities. Yesterday, I think you asked me, why is book distribution, Sankirtan, or you asked me this question yesterday, something, what do you learn on Sankirtan? Or because Lavina Niral always says, Sankirtan is the school of life. And okay, I went to school, I became a car mechanic and whatsoever. I never liked it. But then I went on book distribution, and this is true, it's the school of life. for the spiritual life. Everything I do now, I learned there. I learned to cook. I had no idea about cooking. I couldn't cook even rice. It was always too mushy or too hard, or I always start steering it. I could never follow the instruction on the packet. To cook rice even was difficult. And then I went in the Sankirtan van, and somehow you learn to cook. And now I'm cooking here in the temple for Lord Nishingadev, or big festivals for 300 people. And somehow it works. I don't know how. I have no idea about cooking. But somehow you learn the skills. Or to talk to people, or to sit here and talk in the front of an audience. Or you engage with people outside who don't want to know about you, don't want to speak to you. And what to speak about, speaking about some God-conscious philosophy. Musician, I remember one time we did a video with a friend. He's doing hip-hop and rap. And I was in this video and I had to do some movements, and I was so out of touch with my body that he asked me, please never come again. And now I'm dancing like an idiot, I love dancing and some moving. Or music, I was not talented at all in music. I was not a musician. I couldn't sing, and now I can do kirtans. I learned midanga and harmonium, and so all my kind of senses, my material activities, somehow I can use them now in Krishna consciousness. Because in the material state we are sick. Our senses are sick. Like when you have fever, for example, then you feel everything is loud. When you're sick, then every noise is like 100 times stronger. Every smell is different. Or even your vision, sometimes you don't see properly. Or touch, the sensation, if somebody touches you or you touch yourself, it hurts, it's painful. So because our senses are sick. But also now, even if we're not sick, our senses are also not properly situated. We're only situated if we serve Rishikesh, the master of the senses. And then at one point we should transcend our senses. They should become spiritualized. And this is only possible in Krishna consciousness. Of course, there's other ways, other practices, and also do yoga and pranayama, and it's amazing for the mind to free the mind, to connect with yourself, to experience higher state of consciousness. But it's not the same if you engage yourself in devotional service. Now we had 2 festivals, the Vyasa Puja of His Holiness Kanana Maharaj, and we had the Nishingachaturdashi festival. And you could experience, it was out of this world. Just by going in the temple room with so many devotees chanting, it transforms you, it uplifts you. If you're in the kitchen the whole day cutting vegetables, cooking the sabji, the big feast, serving prasadam, it's so easy to engage the senses in Krishna's service. What to speak of engaging the senses consciously, not just because somebody tells you and you just act. But if you really set the intention and say, Adipurusha Prabhu was here, by the way, our Bhakti Shastri teacher I mentioned recently, and he always said, after the Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Shastri, he said, forget everything I told you now, it's not so important, but one thing you have to remember, and this thing is to set the intention. Whatever you do in Krishna's service, it's not about cleaning a pot or distribute 100 books. But if you don't set the intention, but if you go there and you set the intention, you say, Krishna, this is for you, please, kindly accept my service. Then this is the secret. Then it becomes bhakti. Even though we don't perform bhakti yoga, what we do is maybe karma yoga, karma mishra bhakti. But if we put this small little sentence in before we do any engagement, please Krishna accept this service for me. Then one day Krishna will accept it. And even now he will listen. Hey, my devotee, even though he doesn't like this service, he doesn't like to chant, he's tired again, he's spaced out in the evening, woke up too late. Yeah, it's funny. But my devotee, he still tries to do something for me. And if we practice this, we fake it till we make it. Now if we practice this mood, then more and more we overcome our false ego, our false identification. Because then Krishna will take over. On our own endeavor, we can try very hard, but it will be very difficult to break out of this egg shell of material existence, of all these layers of the material world, of our prison-like condition. Not prison-like, it's a prison. We can enjoy this life, this world, but we are captured here in this material world. On our own endeavor, we will never leave. It's not possible. But with Krishna's mercy, it's very easy. Only this one lifetime. If we dedicate, of course, we have to chant Shuddhanam at one point. We have to chant the holy name pure. And we have to attract Krishna and really fall in love with Krishna and have the desire to see Krishna. And then our whole sadhana, our whole existence, our whole purpose in this life is to be with Krishna. And as long as we have these material desires, like Prabhupada said, advancement in Krishna consciousness is not when you roll on the ground and you shed tears in ecstasy. Advanced devotees, you can see, if they're not attached anymore to the material world, and they only speak about Krishna. You can see in the prasadam room our conversations. It's nice when another Krishna comes, he always speaks about Krishna. Or Sanjay always tries. He comes and then he realizes all the Maya we talk, and then I see Sanjay, and then he asks something, what you read yesterday, or somehow bring the consciousness back to Krishna. It's nice. We should always be more eager to speak about Krishna than about other things. Because our conditioning anyways, we like to hear about material, mundane things. Because it's nice. We are conditioned, we are trained like this. We are trained to be in the prison for so many lifetimes. But the real bliss, the real happiness is only with Krishna. So I will end here now. I hope I could somehow give a message. The verse was a little bit not so connected to the verse I prepared to. And I hope I could satisfy your spiritual senses somehow. Thank you for your attention. Maybe there's some questions or comments. Sanjay Prabhu?
You mentioned that there are so many ways how to engage in devotional service, but still we learned that the main process, most important process nowadays, is the propagation of chanting of Hare Krishna. Maybe you can tell something about yesterday.
Yesterday?
Because I was not there.
Yeah, many of us went on Harinam yesterday. When you mentioned this, I remembered some statement by Niranjana Swami. Can't remember which book it was. I think Treasures of Priyat Midanga from Vijay Prabhu. Some quotes from book distributors and stories. No, it was Tamakrishna Goswami. He mentioned this in a class. That when the devotees, everyone want to go out in these times, everyone want to go out on Harinam. But sometimes some devotees had to stay back to cook for the deities. And they cooked for Gaunitai, but in their hearts, they also went on Harinam. And for them, if now Gaunitai would just pass by, and they would chant the real Gaunitai, Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda, then they probably would jump out of the window and join the Harinam. But sometimes we can't go out on the street, and we have duties here. Sometimes most of the times it's our Maya, we don't want to go out. But sometimes also we have service or other obligations, so we can't go out. But still the mood should be always, we want to go out. We want to share the holy name with people. And yesterday was nice. We were running around in the town, running and running. And we didn't engage that many people actually. Many people heard the holy name, but for my feeling was Harinam should be not just people become spectators and look at us, some nice gypsies running around making some music. No, it should be like, people should be like, wow, I want to join this party, what's going on here. And we should get the people into the kirtan, into the Harinam, and dance with them and chant with them, show them the mantra and try to connect with the people. So I'm just honest now, yesterday I didn't felt it like that. It was still nice, we had a nice Harinam with lots of devotees, and it's always beneficial. I mean, in lockdown, some devotees in Cape Town in South Africa, they went even into the forest and did Harinam to liberate the plants and the animals. Or Harinamananda, he went on the rooftop in the building in Mayapur, in the, how's it called, where we have the Sankirtan flat, Sachi Gardens, and he did Harinam on the building every day. So he never stopped doing Harinam. So that's important. But for me, Harinam is actually preaching. We should engage people. We should attract people to Krishna. We should leave a good impression that people see, like, wow, I want to join these people. So yeah, I think we can work on that, not just doing Harinam for our own selves, enjoy the holy name. We should try to really, give it to others. I mean, I don't say we didn't try yesterday. It was still a nice experience, and I was also blissed out. It was wonderful. But yeah, it's like on book distribution. Sometimes we go on books and we just go on camping. We travel with the van in summer and we go from one lake to the next, and here and there we distribute a few books. And the other devotees, they have to do lots of service here, and we enjoy actually going on Sankirtan. But then you don't get the real thing. But if you really go out and you understand, hey, the devotees here, they working really hard. They are here that we can go out on Sankirtan, and you go out, you're 6 hours a day, fully focused. You really try to connect with the people, to come to their level and really, from heart to heart, really have a nice exchange, give them a book, attract them somehow to Krishna, leave with everyone a good impression. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know if I answered your question, just came in my mind, we should be more conscious and aware how we present ourselves in the public and how we engage other people in devotional service. Mataji?
I find this commentary of Srila Prabhupada on this verse, what you just read. So this commentary was not too long, but it was packed with really important things. So I would like to ask you if you can read the purport again.
The first part or last part, or what was?
The last one was very, for me, last part was very, very important. So at least but it was not too long. But if you can read all or just last part, please.
It's a short purport anyways. According to Vedic version, there is no existence beyond Brahman. It is stated also in the Vishnu Purana that whatever we see in the Parasya Brahmana Shakti, everything we see is Parasya Brahmana Shakti. Everything is an expansion of the energy of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Brahman. When Brahman is mixed with the three qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance, there results the material expansion, which is sometimes called Saguna Brahman, and which consists of these 25 elements. I think now it comes what you mean. In the Nirguna Brahman, where there is no material contamination, or in the spiritual world, the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, are not present. Where Nirguna Brahman is found, simply unalloyed goodness prevails. Saguna Brahman is described by the Sankhya system of philosophy as consisting of 25 elements, including the time factor, past, present, and future. You wanted to comment on that, or just hear it again?
Somebody else can do comment, but I think it's really lots of the churn.
So what do you like? What did you like so much?
I like very much, this is a little bit like Brahman. It's can we say the Brahman, it's a pure consciousness?
I mean, I never heard it like that, but yeah. Pure consciousness. I mean, everything is Brahman, everything is spiritual, and with a pure consciousness, you're on the Brahman platform, so...
So when pure consciousness gets in touch with three gunas, then it's like... then we get these material elements and forms. Yeah.
Yeah. Was a comment or question?
Both. You know, it's a thing to like kind of try to grasp, like try to understand what is really said there.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Teachers? Okay, thank you for your kind attention. I can see today is a little bit, the atmosphere yesterday was intense. Everyone is a little bit tired. Myself as well. So thank you for staying with me. Shri Prabhupada Ki Chai. Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Chai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yakya Ki Chai.